We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday. We're not doing open phones. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, you missed the piece that Nathan Sharkey, photojournalist here at NewsChannel 5, put together on homelessness in Nashville. But there have been a lot of stories on that, obviously. What you did was a little bit different here, obviously going out with that Vanderbilt professor to look into the psychology of homelessness. She goes out and meets with them, and to me, I've done a bunch of stories, but that was fascinating to me. And it really grabbed me because I was so interested in the people.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we as a society, when we're driving or walking, we see them, and we immediately want to, A, look the other way, ignore them, or B, maybe give them some money or something. But still, I feel like we kind of just like put it behind us and keep going on our daily business.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
It's different to actually sit down with them and talk to them. And you know, I mean, yeah, obviously, if you sat down with them, you would see some things that probably don't seem right. Even not being a psychiatrist, you can kind of tell something's off. You know, and I think they need more of that. They need more of us reaching out to them to kind of mentally help them along in the situation that they're in, you know. Now
the older gentleman in the piece with the white beard,
yes,
it seems to me he's one of those folks you were telling me about that clearly chooses to live that way. And when you say that, is it right? You know, I mean, no one you would think wants to be homeless, really. But he really seemed, based on some of his background as a veteran and such, that he needs the open spaces.
Right.
But I'm sure he's dealing with other issues as well.
Right. Right. And he chose that life, you know, and he enjoys it. He doesn't enjoy the society we all live in. There's something about that. Now, that's not saying that it's wrong or it's right, but you know, it's still something that he can't get over, you know.
So where he's at, okay, I think I got a handle on what he said. Now, the woman who had gone through the divorce that we saw in there as well, and they went and took her to get supplies. Now, how is she different from him? She doesn't really choose this lifestyle. It sounds to me like she admitted she needs counseling. She's got some psychological problems. She went through a difficult time, but I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, gosh, I mean, there has to be a way for her to get out of this.
So, Dr. Fleisch, and I hope I don't butcher this because I'm not a psychologist, but she claims that Cynthia, that's her name, is dealing with some major psychological issues going on.
Could it be bipolarism, depression, things like that?
Where she cannot get along with her husband that fell apart. She's she's estranged from all of her family, and then, you know, in the workplace or in the work environment or society's environment, she's having conflicts and struggles that she just can't toe the line, I guess, like we all do. And so she just finds herself in this situation where she's kind of in limbo, and she ends up in a homeless camp.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, how do you deal with it? Listen, we have some phone calls for you. The lines are open, 737-7587, if you want to comment on it. I know if you live in this area or if you live anywhere, you see homelessness. You do. I mean, a lot of us turn away from it, and a lot of them have encampments way back in the bushes, but you still see them, and how to deal with it. Let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Joe, what's on your mind?
I was just listening to and watching the piece you had just had on, and listening to what the psychologist from Vanderbilt was saying, and I agree with her to a certain point. These people don't seem to be unintelligent as a whole, and I think a lot of them probably do have some kind of mental illness, but a lot of them choose to live this lifestyle. They don't want to work. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to fool with society in general. There's a lot of people in their lifetime has grew up, has went through the same thing a lot of these people are claiming they're having problems with. But they pulled themselves up of the bootstraps. Maybe they had to start at the bottom, but they got up and made themselves part of society. And I noticed that most of them had smoking cigarettes. Most of them had money to buy something to drink. most of them were saying they wasn't hungry. So, you know, I don't quite agree 100% with the psychology of these people. A lot of them not wanting to live this lifestyle. They just don't want to participate in society.
Well, and that's, yeah, I mean, that last gentleman we were talking about, you said, doesn't really fit in. Now, I see where Joe's coming from, and I think a lot of people may feel the same way to some degree. It's case by case, right? I'm sure there's some people out there that are just, you know, freeloaders that are just lazy and don't want to work, and they find a way to just, you know, but then, I mean, I just have to view that as being in the minority, because who wants to really live that way? I mean, even that old gentleman, there's got to be some nights where it's freezing on the side of the river there in the wintertime. Yeah. Does he really, would he not really rather have a place, even if he could, just maybe away from people, but that's, you know, someplace safe and warm?
Or what about his family? Yeah. You know, is there something going on there? Why can't he get along with his family? Or, you know, why does he choose this way? And again, it's, yes. There are people who out there probably just don't want to work. Fine. I think that is a small percentage, quite honestly. I think that a lot of them are dealing with some sort of psychological issue, that you just can't function in society. You and I both personally have kind of dealings with this. We know what it's like to deal with people who just have a tough time.
That's right, Nathan.
And so, so it's I think getting out there and trying to see if we can help them along mentally. You know, not so much financially. You know, mentally. Try to get them, give them a boost. Kind of make them feel like, you know, you can get up. Like he said, pull your bootstraps up.
But see, sometimes
someone
they need
needs
help.
to say that to them.
Exactly, needs to help, and it's like with the situations that you and I have both dealt with personally with people we know. They're lucky they had folks and help. Without the help, they easily could have ended up there. And Mary Elena was saying, as she watched the piece as well, an important thing that you did in that piece was humanizing them to some degree. When you drive past them, you see them, and yeah, you turn away either because you're ashamed or you just don't want to look at it, and then you're off. But your piece there humanized them. I felt for every single one of these people in there, and that was just in 8 minutes. Just in 8 minutes. Let's go to Candy. Hi, Candy.
Good morning, Nick, and to your guest.
Good morning.
Nathan Sharkey, that was a very hard for warming video. And I would like to share something with you. I was on MTA Tuesday, okay, and coming home, I don't ride it often, but sometimes I just like to get on and just ride. And there was a guy on the bus, and he was just pulling up his socks, and I noticed his hair looked like he had a ponytail, but he's lost the band. So I reached in my purse and gave him one, and he said, "Thank you, ma'am." And he said, "I'm homeless, and I have 4-stage cancer." It just touched the pit of my heart. And I asked him, I said, "Are you taking your medicine?" And he said to me, "No, I don't have insurance." So I'm just saying to your listeners, some people out there are homeless not because they want to be, and I didn't agree with your caller, I'm sorry, because when you see people with cigarettes or they eating the homeless, we don't know if someone gave them that. And not everyone, like myself, if I see anyone talking down to them, yes, I'm speaking on it. But I just wanted to share with you that all homeless people are not there because they want to be. And we as a society should speak to them. If they sit by you, don't feel like, ugh, they can't help the way they are sometimes. So I just wanted to share that with you about the gentleman that was on the bus. He didn't have insurance, and I didn't hope that he's okay. And you all have a great day, and I'm really enjoying your program, listening to you about the homeless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call, Candy.
Yeah, and I'm glad she actually took the time to chat with this gentleman too. You know, and again, that's what we were talking about earlier. It's sometimes we just don't have the time, or we don't have the interest,
or the interest,
I don't know.
Or maybe you don't know how. What if someone's out there watching? And I'll tell you one way you can. I have volunteered at the Mission, okay? And when you go out there, I mean, not everyone that's homeless is living out in these encampments you went to. I don't know if you thought about going to the Mission, but I know you're going to the place where a lot of people don't see it, but you know the Mission. And you go out there and you see the people, say for instance at Thanksgiving when you're helping serve meals and all that. That's when there's a huge turnout. And almost all of them, I mean, they're just like you and me, but some of them, hard knocks. You know, layoffs, couldn't find another job, they were in debt. They want to get back on their feet. None of them really want to be there. Medical problems, things that, you know, bankrupt them because of something out of the blue. And she is absolutely right, and I agree with you. I think those who just choose to be out there and are just, you know, trying to live freeloading off society, I think is the small minority. The vast majority of people that are homeless, if they're going to be honest with you, are going to say, yeah, sure, I'd rather have a place of my own somewhere. And yeah, sure, I'd like to have a job where I could pay, but I'm dealing with these demons in my head, where I've got a health issue, or I don't have the money to get started again, right?
And let's kind of just be honest. I mean, I think the majority of us are about 3 or 4 paychecks away from being homeless ourselves.
Oh yeah, and without the help of others too, in my upbringing and yours, who knows where you and I would be. All right, listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, we got a bunch of calls. This has hit a nerve, Nathan. I think it's because your piece was fantastic. And so we'll come back and we're going to take calls for the next half hour as quickly as you can, so stay with us. Back after this.